as we were kind of briefly discussing right before the cameras started rolling, a lot of what we see in the customer facing end has to be attributed to what's going on behind the scenes. Could you tell us about the culture and the organization at EOS that allows you to move so quickly? I think this is one thing. The quality is there, but the speed in which you all execute is bewildering. And an incredible example of that is the Bless Your Cooch campaign, which materialized in hours and actually resulted in a new product launch.
Yeah. Yeah. So for those of the listeners who aren't familiar with that case study, essentially, we noticed something happening within social media, which was that there was a, just completely organically unsolicited someone who was extolling the virtues of our shave cream, which was not the biggest part of our portfolio. In fact, it was a product as well as a broader category that was in kind of a slump. And they were speaking about the virtues of it for shaving your private parts, her private parts. And she did not say, she used much more colorful language than that. Let's just say that. The response that we decided on along with our creative agency was that we were going to literally put her words, bless your effing cooch, on our product and launch product that basically would be available for sale. And of course it sold out, and it drove a ton of awareness and a ton of interest and engagement. And what that led to was that we jumped from, being in the middle of the pack to being at the top of the pack. We actually drove a ton of growth for the total category. So it wasn't just us.
That's cool.
The category just expanded and grew as a result of all of this renewed interest in what had been not a very exciting category before. So, and that all happened within days.
That's insane.
So if you're speaking about speed.
Yeah.
What I will tell you is that the part of the story that is, that is not as well known is that before that, we had been an organization, let's say 2 years before that was relatively risk averse. So to go from being an organization that is pretty risk averse to being an organization that leans in on colorful and, yes, some would say profane words, in the interest of truth, brand truth, product truth, all of these things, and very quickly was a journey. And so I think that when, I get asked a lot, how did you manage to do that? How did you convince people? And it's you know what? The act was quick, but the foundational work to lead up to trust, to lead up to aligned points of view, to lead up to we're all in sync as a leadership team, we're all in sync as a marketing team on how to move quickly. That foundational work took a long time. So when you see speed, oftentimes the work that precedes the speed, it is actually not that speedy. It's the hard work of building in culture, building in organizational norms, and building in trust as a company that allows you to move fast when you have the opportunity.
That is so cool. And it always, this kind of type of conversation always leads me back to the way bamboo grows is it's nothing. It's dirt for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. And then in 72 hours, it sprouts up. People will sit and watch it with their naked eye, the bamboo growing. But anybody who comes along before that is you're watering dirt. You understand that, right? So.
Well, the other thing about bamboo is, as somebody who is a homeowner, the other thing about bamboo is that in order to stop it, you have to basically fill in a 5-foot deep concrete trench, which is the roots go deep. Once you've established the roots, once you've established that foundational work as an organization with trust, as a culture, the roots go deep, and then you're unstoppable.
I love that. So what was the mix of personal relationship building so people knew you and could trust you, because that's a huge part of it. The work is the work, but the people behind it really matter. And and what percentage of it was what little experiments, what little wins can I bring? See, that wasn't so bad, right? What was that kind of in the trenches day-to-day look like?
That's a really great question because it is both. I think there has to be trust of you as a leader, and that you have the business's best interests at heart, and that every action is being guided from wanting to deliver growth on the business. And I think that it, over the years, because at that point I had been in my role for a little under 3 years. I really worked hard to demonstrate myself as being a business-minded, business-savvy leader, not just purely a creative leader, not just purely even like functionally a marketing leader per se, but a business leader and a
Yes.
member of the C-suite that contributes meaningfully to driving the growth of the total business. And that work does take time, and you have to show up as a co-owner of the business every day in order to
Let's
be able to build
go.
that trust. Sorry. And then I think that the other piece of it, which is to to kind of like also build up an understanding of the medium itself. It takes
Mm.
like breadcrumbs along the way.
Hmm.
And I think that when we were at that point where we were willing to move really quickly because we were living in this sort of like social media at the speed of culture type of world and environment, we still are. We had shown along the way many examples and dropped the breadcrumbs with the broader organization of this is how things work on TikTok. This is how things work on short form video platforms. This is how things work with creator marketing. This is how things work when you see something organically gaining traction and how brands, whether it's an example from us or other brands, how they take advantage of it. And so constantly being in the position where you are advocating on behalf of the things that you know work within your function with the broader organization really helped get everybody up to speed on how to succeed within this world of social media and reactive, fast moving, quick creator marketing.